This
Oh,
is
Igal is here. See, he confirmed it. Look in the chat.
What's that?
Look at Igal in the chat. He said yes. Igal. No, the one above it. Go one above it. Go one above it.
Sorry. Oh, Igal, jump on the fucking show now, and you've got to come explain this. Jump on now. I'm sending you the link. I'm sending you a link. I don't care if you're babysitting. Put the kid in the cot and close the door, right? Don't actually do that, right?
This guy actually said this. Before this guy actually said, people, I can't do the show today. I am babysitting for his own child. How could you be babysitting your own child?
I think it's a North American thing because I do hear people saying that a lot.
What, they babysit their own kids?
Like they just say, "Oh, I'm babysitting," but it's mainly.
He's saying that he just said yes, yes, like yes, people, like yes, people. Now, Igal, people are telling me in this chat that you said that trophies are overhyped. I need that. If you didn't say it, just say so. You ain't got to jump on. But if you said it, you've got to come on and just explain that. I need 5 minutes of your afternoon to understand what you mean by trophies being overhyped, because that doesn't make sense to me. And too many people in here are saying that man like egalitarian definitely said he did. You've got to come on and explain that. I think you owe, just as a friend, I think you owe me an explanation so I understand, because I don't want to miss. You said it on the Sam's channel. Wow. I mean, this sounds. He's here. Igal's jumped on. You're with us here. Explain this. I don't even want to take it out of context. What do you mean by trophies are overhyped?
Manchester United won 2 trophies over the last 2 seasons. If you don't progress as a team and you don't show the consistency throughout the season in the league, winning domestic trophies can paper over cracks and become overhyped to a certain level. I know everyone wants to win trophies, but in that aspect, you guys have won 2 trophies domestically over the last 2 seasons and have gotten worse domestically in the league year after year, even though you won those trophies. I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing to win trophies. I'm just saying it's not the sign of progression that everyone makes it out to be. And over the last 5 years, people talk about, oh, Arsenal haven't done anything for the last 5 years. Well, to be fair, the first 2 years out of those 5 years, we weren't even competitive. We've clearly improved to a level where we're now competitive to at least be in the conversation to competing for the league. And even getting further in the Champions League. That was my main point. So I think people are taking what I'm saying out of context and saying, oh, I don't care about trophies. Clearly, I care about trophies. I'm just saying it doesn't show that you've progressed as a squad if you're not fighting for the main 2 trophies. You're winning domestic cup, or you're winning. Let's be honest. I think the FA Cup, and the cup, and the, what do you call it? The Carabao Cup are very difficult competitions to win compared to maybe some cup competitions in other leagues where it might be easier for Bayern or PSG to win, for example. But in the same breath, it's not the sign of progression that everyone makes it out to be.
I think your statement, by the way, to say that domestic trophies, let's just say cup trophies is not necessarily a sign of progression. I agree with that statement, but that's not the statement that we were arguing. I do believe that you could be a shit team and still manage to shithouse a trophy. I've seen that before.
So
I've seen teams that pick up domestic trophies, cup trophies, and don't retain it the year after, or not even compete for the league. I agree with you. I think the statement is that trophies is overhyped. When you just put that, like famous quotes, and they just put the picture of the person, especially in black and white. I feel like there's going to be one day a picture of Igal in black and white filter and just a quotation mark, trophies is overhyped. I just think the statement.
What it is. Yeah, you need to,
my statement might be wild.
But Igal, what it is, I get the point that you're making, right? Because I've said, like, with the trophies that we were winning under Roman the last few years or whatever, even like with Staffy and Terry, right? They've been winning trophies with Ten Hag, but they know that their house was a shit show, right? So I get the point you're trying to make, but it's the language you're using. You shouldn't say trophies are overhyped. You shouldn't say that, right? Because when you say that, your point is lost in translation. And then people will be like, oh my God, Igal said trophies are overrated and then whatnot. And then your point is missed. That's what happens.
So I think, just like this comment here, that trophies are everything, there's nothing else. That for me is as overstated as trophies are overhyped, because they're not everything, and I can prove they're not everything to all fans. Every Chelsea supporter that phoned into our match reaction after they won the Conference League said, buzzing to win it, love it, but I never want to be in this competition again. They would rather be competitive in the Champions League for 10 years straight and not win it than ever be in the Conference League again, which means the conversation that trophies are everything is absolutely wrong. Because I've heard Arsenal fans say I'd rather qualify for the Europa League, more chance of winning it, and then it's a trophy. The problem is, if your manager was coming sixth in the league, you'd also be asking for him to be sacked.
So you know what their logic is, Terry?
So the idea that trophies are everything is wrong. Igal's logic is right. Winning a trophy doesn't necessarily mean you're a good team. Winning a trophy does sometimes paper over cracks. So there is logic to what he said. Anyone who says otherwise is not telling the truth, because there were many an Arsenal fan that won the FA Cup with Arteta and still said sack him because we're 8th in the league. They're the same people now that say trophies mean everything. Certain people, and maybe that's you, Robert, in the comments, I don't know, have developed this notion that trophies are everything purely as a hammer to beat Arteta over the head with. And if Arteta wins one this year, it will be, but how many has he won in 6 years? You will move the goalpost again.
You know what's so funny about these people? It's how you always catch them as well. Because Arteta's been there for ages, yeah? With their logic about trophies meaning everything, when you ask them, okay, cool, if Arteta wins the Carabao Cup, would you give him more time? They're like, yeah, I would. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, though. Because if you've got such high standards and you're happy with an FA Cup after 6 years, you would be saying, get rid of this guy. But you're just saying this because you're so fixated on this trophies are everything narrative, right? That you have to just stand by it, even though you don't believe it yourself. There's no way after 6 years, your manager just wins your Carabao Cup, you'll be happy keeping him. You'll be saying, listen, give me that Carabao Cup, but move on. Let's get someone that can win us bigger trophies. That's what you'd be saying, bro.
You know what Yardman said to me? Yardman said to me he'd rather be in the Europa League and build his European heritage by winning the
Europa League. We're not really going to take it seriously.
That's so shameless. That's honestly so shameless.
Do you want to know?
The first one outside the Grande, Gal. If you make Europa League, it means you're failing in the league. So along the way you're failing, he'd be the first one on the mic every day crying.
Yeah, and this is what it's funny, really, right? It's funny because I looked at a I'm gonna get the statistics up in front of me now, right? I understand where he's coming from in the sense of I get his logic, but his logic is flawed. I'm gonna find I need to find this. Here we go. Top European trophies by clubs. So where he's wrong, in my opinion, is I put together a list of the clubs with the most European trophies. Right. For instance, who can be blunt? Are Sevilla considered European royalty?
No, not at all.
But they're the eighth most.
They're respected in Europe, but they're not.
They're not royalty.
Europa League.
But there's clarity to this. But they are the 7th most successful club in Europe in terms of totality of European cups that have been won. Atletico Madrid come in 10th, but have never won the difference is that Atletico Madrid and Sevilla both have more European trophies in total than Manchester United do, but they've not got a bigger heritage. We've won the Champions League 3 times. So Arsenal could win 10 Europa Leagues in the next 30 years. If Spurs win 1 Champions League in that time, that's bigger for your European heritage. So the idea of just being in the Europa League will build a heritage. The proof's there. There's loads of teams that have won that trophy loads. Yeah, sorry, go on.
And it goes back to the fact that you're going to rank the Champions League higher because you're playing against better teams, right? So you're gonna put it at a high level.
Exactly. Sevilla are not seen as a bigger team in Europe than Chelsea, although they have 7 Europa Leagues versus Chelsea's 2 Champions Leagues and 2 Europa Leagues. They're not seen as a bigger team than Juve because they've got 7 winners' trophies, where Juve only have 5 because Juve have got 2 Champions Leagues. In fact, when you look at Europa League and Champions League, they have the same amount as Bayern Munich, but Bayern Munich have got 6 and 1 in Champions League favor. They're not on their level. The idea of it's about what you win as well. So again, I'm not saying everything about Igal's statement is right. Even with Robert up on the screen, trophies are the pinnacle, but not all trophies what you don't win all trophies whilst at your pinnacle. So there's still more you can demand after picking up a trophy. Man United in the last 3 years are proof in that pudding. Multiple finals, 2 trophies won, but we're not at the pinnacle of the game. You're the same person, Robert, that was probably laughing at and bantering us all season. You didn't go, I can't banter United. They won a trophy last year. If that was the case, the only team that hasn't been bantered this year is Liverpool.
You know what it is, yeah? The best way to kind of look at it, right, Terry, it's like, you know, when you're hungry and you're like, you know what? I can't be asked to cook anything. Let me just go make a bit of toast. You have a bit of toast with jam on it or something, or put some butter on that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it fills you up a little bit, but you can still eat a bigger meal, right? The Carabao Cup will fill you up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The Conference Cup will fill you up a little bit, but it's not the main, yeah? When you eat the Prem, when you meet the Champions League, you're full. You know what I'm saying? That is Wagyu. That's what you call Wagyu steak. You know what I mean? There's levels to this, bro. Let's not be disingenuous and try and make it out like every trophy is the same, because they're not.
Yeah.
Also, stop picking and choosing which manager you consider losers. Because if they won the league 10 years ago, or they won the league 5 years ago, and they haven't done anything for you lately, is it not the same thing as Arteta going 5 years without winning a trophy? Because I'm hearing people saying, go get me Diego Simeone. But when was the last time Diego Simeone won a title race?
He's so finished, bro. I can't lie to you. He is so finished.
And on top of that, he's leading the pack at times with his team and dropping off numerous times throughout the year. I'm hearing people telling me about Dortmund have a Dortmund manager or something like that a couple years ago. Didn't they fall off a cliff also? And he got sacked. And it's like every single time that there's a new hot manager, you guys want to link him to Arsenal, talk about let's go get him.
Having said that though, Egal, yeah, let me just tell you something. Because you know how I've just said to you that every trophy is not the same, right? Your manager must win a major this season coming, right? Now let me tell you something, Egal. If he doesn't win the Prem,
someone screenshot that.
Legendary cool, bro. I'm just telling you. This is
screenshot it. Hang on, let me get rid of the chat. Somebody screenshot that up. We've got it there. It's ready to go.
Screenshot this.
Who did that quickly?
Screenshot it.
Who did that quickly, man? Shit.
Staffy sat there making it 100%.
Oh my gosh, that's man did it so quick. And it's on the same show, is it? No, it's on the same show.
It's the same one.
It's the same show. Egal, let me ask you.